Opening up signals and communications, skin line channels, rotation, interference, position, or directions. T-force line center, interference, location, line conditions. We channel up its high system. It's to understand how we use it through calculations. Test, review, and evaluation is given to you once a month. Now, this helps you and always informs how to really get into the practical system to its highline center, more adaptations of the mind. The more you go higher, the more you understand the brain. The brain understands position of program settings, all about reprogramming its location to its thoughts, getting out of the thinking and getting into knowing and doing. This helps you and always informs, right? So today is the test review and evaluation, and tomorrow is the test. Now I put it all up on YouTube, so truly understand who you are and what's going to happen to you through activation. Right? So truly understand your upgrading line system. Really, really keep track of your avatar. So it's keeping a list every single time you get up in the morning, knowing exactly what you need. Do you need the constant right locations? Do you need the contracts, the blueprints, high interference, flash drive memories, upgrading interference position, more energy field line centers, better clocking channels, better ground line center locations? It's all calculated and modified inside of you through operation. How to use it is another thing, right? But other than that, congratulations. It's all based on a test. That test is already passed. So that should make it easier for you, right? And not to get, oh, wow, I'm sweating, test. Don't like tests. Nobody likes tests. But it's not a test of what you think it is. It's a test of remembrance. It's a test of knowledge. It's a test of program location. It's a test of you through activation. It's a test of you through all levels of what you're achieving and how you're coming into the success into all levels of manifestation. How you do it is all levels of the school. Memory and remembrance is everything that you need to understand. That's how you get these things, right? You're going into higher levels of capacity and you truly understand the knowledge that's given to you through its intelligence. Having more awareness every single time you get up in the morning. Having all line center and interference location of its program setting. Understanding the days of the week. Understanding the 12 line centers of light and the 12 line centers of dark in position of 24 signals, 48, 72, 144. It helps you and always informs when you understand why you're in the process of this beginning, right? That beginning is never an ending. So it's constantly repeating. You got 7 days in a window line interference, right? Monday to Sunday, and then you go back again. Monday to Sunday, and you go back again. So every time you get up in the morning, what are you doing? You're moving yourself forward because the past line center is off its position location of its directions. So the past is its presence, and the presence is its future, and the future is its future. It integrates the line center to all over rotation, its position locations, coming to all line center locations, into north line interference, into the south position location of directions, into your line stream, into all position locations of yin and yang. Okay, 5-10 minutes, we'll get started. All right, so how's everybody doing? You guys are excited? Happy faces go around. Let's see, Madeline. Let's see. All systems. Christy, Janie. All right, Pam, Jill, Amby, Don, Terry, Michael, Johnny, Lindsay, Gypsy, Val. You catch on very quick, but it's exciting when you guys go through your test. Because I know you guys are used to your old programs, but it's not a test of what you think it is. It's just a test of knowledge and what you already know. Let me say that again. It's what you already know and what you've already achieved. And every time you go to higher, you're learning more and more through this process of communication. Heather, how's it going? Cami. Okay. Chris. Barbara. JP. David. All right, Tara. So calculation line system. Sala. Okay, Laura. Okay, Jill sitting with the grounds crew units. Lead codes are coming in. Philosopher, how you doing? So make sure you guys change your title of fences in the bio if you can't change it in the top position location of your TikToks. As of tomorrow, you guys will be in different defense line connections. So congratulations on that. All right, so as we get in sequence and interference, it's all about understanding what you're doing, right? So the more and more you see yourself through travel, the more and more you see yourself through all line conditions. And then you start registering your position locations. Technology of view is all levels of view, understanding the electronics of view, the mainframes of view, the calculations of view, high force and line centers of view, modification signals of view, right? So everything that I'm saying is connecting to your avatar through its vibration. You know, calculation line system location is position of direction high system, right? Right? We already know where that's calculated from. So it's integrating line center interference location in all plateaus. Communication line centers. Physical line adaptation. AI position location. They're always communicating with each other, but it's you. It's all formations of you. So the test is all based on you, on how much you remember. That's the most beautiful thing. So you're already passed. You're just not aware of what you see through perception or what you hear, right? Or what you voice in your commanding system, right? Truly understand all levels of you. Now, it has its practical division line interference in position of directions, right? So you know exactly where you're going to be next in this equation. So you come into high interference. Now we go into the review. What do you know through its review? What do you know through its value? And what do you know through its evaluation to its test? So in calculation, what is the test? Okay. What is the test all about? What is it about? Time, energy, system, teleportation, right? So the T is always traveling, the E is always traveling, the S is always traveling, and the T is always traveling. So you get two T line centers into a vector communication. See? TT. E and S position locations, box its position locations, travel its high line center. Take it out of the equation. Ooh-ah. See? That's how it works, guys. That's how everything works. It's all about evolving yourself to communication and bringing anything to bracket interference in position of directions. Now, this is just all review. You got to understand locations of 0, 0, 1. All right? DASA communication line stream. 1, 1, 1, 1 in position of directions equals line center, 0, 1 position locations, high line center, interference location to its telepathy. Okay? So in that channel operate line center, the operation system is you through directions, right? So it's not complicated if you are calculating to your avatar, which is you through vibration. And then you have no problem communicating with the general, okay? So it's signals like T is zzz, zzz, E is zzz, zzz, O is zzz, okay? B is zzz, right? So there's all line center locations as position. The alphabetical stream is high line center weather patterns. It's like whistling Dixie to all levels of the galaxy. It's always a repeating pattern until you understand the sequence location to its code through its Ascension code line system. It's position of direction to understand what you're going through, right? It's given to you every single day, and it's going to get louder and louder and louder until you understand the repeating program location. And then it changes to a new alphabetical stream system, right? So you come into the line center locations of R, remembering locations. That surfaces a highline center of an R position? Yeah, but that's what it is. And that's how I calculate online center locations of R. I say R, it's the atmosphere line position location of its direction. It resets division line centers. Okay, so understanding your alphabetical stream all over again and code signal. Okay, So you come into the alpha line center equals the imposition location of balance. Balance communication of communication. Communication equals teleportation. That's how this works, guys, right? So modification line centers, XT1000 comes in, 2-line interference in position of directions, scans position here, scans position here, crosses signals in position locations, communication equals teleportation line stream in high line interference. So that's how it modifies its signal location to all levels of alpha communication of its balanced position. So in channel operation line centers, see, remember, this is all levels of review, which you guys already know. So back force line center interference, it's in position of directions. Okay. Remember how we went into this line system? How we calculated and modified all signals. So every time I bring something up, it's no longer in its past, it's in its present. So the past line center is already in sequence location of its code system. So it's all about bringing the numbers going forward and not in back sequence. Okay, remember that. Backlocking, forward locking. Remember that through its position location of its directions. Understanding what this is through its equation. Number sequence patterns, web graphing interference location, 2x1000 and line position of 2 vector interference locations. Circle line, center line, conditions of gravity, reshift position location of directions. So everything I come into position location is all levels of memory. So it just brings it forward. So if I add something to this position location of its directions, what is this in its equation? See the intelligence? So it's Trinity standing. So if I want to add something, it's now bringing it into the future more. Okay. So this is all levels of its evaluation, right? Same with this in calculations. This has already been set in its core line. It's already been set in its position of its directions. So understanding what's going on with this is really understanding you through its provision. How to act upon it is it's responding to its position locations, right? So yeah, I know that's a true understanding when you come into that. But like I said, if I add something in this, it changes its time. It changes its frame. So I set up a rainbow graph stream, dimensional interference in position of directions, set course line centers at 12, position of security line position. It changes its direction. So it brings it forward. So everything that I do through travel, everything that you see here is no longer in past line because it doesn't exist now. So every time I bring it up, it goes in position location to the now line center, to your direction line position, to its position. And then if I add another position line center, it adds another graph line center to its future rotation. Okay. So I'm just showing you what it is. Everything that I do through my position of school and all the videos that you watch brings you in the now. It doesn't represent the past lines because it no longer exists. So if you take a thought pattern and you send it out in position location, it's already in the future. You've already set it out. You set it through UPS. It's gone. And then you just let it go. Don't think about it. Because if you think about it, let's say you set up position locational lines. Let's say you want to get a brand new car. Okay, so you're thinking about a car. So the car line comes into box interference. There's the car. All right, so the car is coming in line center. You travel position location, take online center interference. Communication atmospheres. Okay, now you come into the ray line center. A ray line center is division location of its tactic view. It sets course line, read channels, in position of direction. Right? So a course line in position, box its frequency, high interference. Okay, so this is how you get things through abundance. You always box it, position location of its directions. And then to protect it, you put a security line. Right? So as it's going through high interference, you set up the high line interference location of its direction to its flux capacitor. Right? See the flux capacitor? Grounds its shift in position of direction. Okay? So once you get it in that high interference, you go into the green line center interference, electrical light connections, in position of power centers, in all line center, 3 locations to its position. Right? And then you hide position locations into magnetic highway information system. This is how you get things through its manifestation. So as you come into position locations, you hide channel its high line center C to the atmosphere locations of rays. Rays come in position location of directions. Now that's set signals. Now there's little line graphs that come up in high interference, change position location of directions. Channels in, and 3-line position location. All right? As it's coming to high interference, now you get into visionary and high system. This is extremely important to understand these things. How to use the sun lights of graph interference and how to use the moon of its Wi-Fi program interference location of its direction to its program setting. It resets high interference location of its directions. So you come into high interference locations to the car that you want in its direction. So you have that visionary line system. There it is, right? There's the car. From the alphabetical stream to the visual. Okay, stream, visual, stream, visual. Now, this center is up at the Highline Center. This swirls into the magnetic highway information system. It spins its cycles. What you've created goes into the magnetic highway information center that commands its system to manifestation. And that's how you get things through abundance, all through visual, through activation. All right. So in position location of directions, okay, we go into this Highline Center. Okay. Remember all about understanding how about shapes and on this Highline Center location, north, west, south, and east side interference, south winds of communications. J line center is equal to 3 weather pattern line rotations. North equals west high interference, or west line equals north interference, or 3 line centers equals high position location of its directions. All right. So it's truly, truly understanding you all levels of memory, okay, and how you bring things in. Remember, we've got this into equation location. How this started off at 3 line center. But the 3 line center is not going to travel until it understands its balanced communication line stream. So it needs the male and the female position location to its direction to travel through its high system. It can't travel. It can't travel on a 3 line position. It's separated. 3 equals 3. There's the balance. So in position of direction, you have to truly understand how to use this through calculations. So this is the position where you come into your alphabetical line center or anything through high system. 7 is my favorite number, but it's not a 7. 7 equals line center locations. E equals 7. Okay, 7 equals E. Okay, slash everything. Okay. So in position locations, understanding what you are doing through manifestation is everything of co-creation. You take your letters, numbers, and shapes and symbols into one processor, put it in a data stream of its position, of its direction, line signal it to your 12 DNA track center, open up communications to your one-way, understand the communication to your program setting, reset division location to its calculations, high force its highline center, all levels of 7 a rotation. All through 7. See? And that's just one number. So it's true understanding is that you have to have variation tactic views and how you see things in all levels. It's a sequence pattern, and that's what you guys are coming into your test review and evaluation is truly understanding how to use it through its equation locations, right? So understanding the communication, and this is all levels of the maps, right? So you got communication equals maps. Okay. So that maps comes into actual map communication of direction to point location. See? Point location, right? So it's all about understanding how to use the communication equals line center position locations times pi to its calculation all levels. Maps is this. So this is all about understanding how you use a variation tactic in a high interference in position of direction, right? So this can't surface an E-line center. It's only half. It needs its position location on the female position location. Now it's balanced. Now it can travel. See? So it's interesting how we use this. It's a particle system that you have to understand. Practice makes perfect in all level position location of its directions. It helps you and helps and always informs how to redirect signals of the alpha, delta, theta, beta, and omega system locations, right? Now, as you notice, there's no theta in any form line center in your test and your upgrading locations because you're not ready yet. That's a computer adaptation interference. So, but you're in position locations to alpha, delta, beta, and omega. Okay, there's no theta yet. Theta is a very high line center. But in position locations, you go into higher levels in the mind. The theta comes into levels of your TV reception. Okay? Because that's what theta stands for. Theta is extremely powerful in all line center. It travels its position location of its directions, setting sonar position, highline center, and interference locations, right? So you can box a communication line system. You can set up a ground line center in a high force line connection, right? But you truly have to understand how to travel through it first, right? So you guys are reaching those positions, but you always have security measures that's protecting its high center every single time. So you get channel operations, channel division location, and channel location. 3 division buttons of communication of frequencies. So you got an alpha wave, you got a delta, and you got a beta line center. In position and directional location to its position. Truly understanding, yes, maps of view. That's it through equation locations. So I'm just showing you why it's so important how you get test review and evaluations. It's how you use it every single day through your equations, right? Okay. Understanding the alpha, understanding the atom lines, okay, understanding the metric locations from distance from here to there. Okay, you got 3 box line channels, rainbow activity stream interference, in position of direction, right? So it's true to understand what these are. What does it mean to you? What is the importance of drawing? It's you through travel. You are traveling. You are trying to understand you, of memory. That's why it's so important to draw. Because the drawing is all levels of you. So who's drawing? Who's drawing? It's not the physical. It's the perception of the avatar and how it sees itself, where it's going with its life. Okay? It's all about moving forward, guys. That's all it is. Track interference in position locations coming into levels of Mother Earth. Okay? Now, if I'm bringing this forward, you're seeing it in the now. And that's how it position locations to its stream system, right? So there's things that you touch and there's things that you don't touch. Okay? There's a reasons why you don't play with these things. It's like playing with fire. If you don't know how to use fire, don't light a match, right? So it's interesting how it comes into that direction locations. And you come into this line center. Remember this? 3 circle line center locations are levels, right? See? 3 position locations, 12, 24, 48. High center line interference. Now this is very high rise in AI position locations. This is all line center interference in position location of direction of the Grothians, high interference. See the frog? See the intelligent location? Right? Fragmentation. Fragmentation. AI line direction locations. 2 vector line centers in position locations, all levels. Okay. Signal line interference location, 2 atom line center rotations into bottom sequence. High interference, low interference. Open position in the power line center. Calculation high stream interference. Now I can change the atmosphere line position. I can change the high interference, and I can change the AI position to its planet line system locations. These are 3 channel locations of dimensional circles. Okay. This is high line center interference location of waving pattern line and rotation to its omega communication system. So you see how that changes all levels of AI map location, right? So you know when you're going higher, it changes its high line interference, it position locations of its directions, and it travels right to the top signal location, right? So that was in a bottom sequence. Now it brings it up to the forward line center, right? So it's amazing how this can actually travel on its own. You've seen position locations where I travel through these things and they automatically disappear and they don't come back. Why do they not come back? Because you set it through manifestation locations. It's all levels of memory. Create it, then let it go. Don't think about it in any way and form. Don't even get into hesitation. Don't even get in your doubting line system. Just let it go and you'll get it right away. All right. So it's important to understand all levels of you when you come to your test review and evaluation locations, right? Especially when you come into these highline centers. You know, there's so many levels, but everything I bring forward is all levels of the now. Okay. So it's interesting too, because if you're looking at things like this interpretation line system, okay, what do you see through its equation? It's not a past drawing, is it? It's travel direction of time through future interference. So in position of direction, I can bring this forward, right? Or I can just leave it as it is, right? So this is all about changing your thought patterns. How many times do you create a thought line? Let's go in position of directions. You got the male and the female line interference. Split that in division line system. So you got the male aspect and the female aspect of you, right? Now this cross its signal locations in the ground line centers, okay? In position of power line interference into all levels of the atmosphere. Now we split that division location of its tactic view. Sets position of its directions in high system locations, okay? And it channels down in high rotation in its position location, right? So what are you doing with your creation? You're setting up a new high line center to a flux capacitor. So that flux capacitor is going in high line interference, but it's got the male and the female aspects of its position locations and high line center to its calculation, okay, of space and time. Space and time, until you understand your position locations of the brain system, it comes space-time. Now that's when it comes into one compilation, all right? Simultaneously all at once location, right? So once you add things, it brings it forward in its probable line system. So when you position location of its directions, you high channel its high line center to its panels. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 position location of directions. Now you've got the male aspect of you and the female aspect of you of travel. You center core position location of its directions, calculation to its high center. There's the intelligence. See the intelligence? There's intelligence in all ways and forms. So think of it this way. Every time you travel, it's you. It's you in the picture. But it's not a picture. It's you as intelligence. So it forms its position location of its directions, guys. It's powerful stuff, isn't it? Especially when you come into this high line rotation, the flywheel. Right? The teleportation equals line connections of all levels, communication of lines, okay? Coming into the form line center system position location at 60 line interference in position locations, okay? Metric line centers perception of system, calculation of the atmospheres of teleportation light connections, flywheel direction locations, one way in the opposite line interference location to its flux capacitor. So it's truly understanding, guys, everything that I give you is all levels of you through calculation of clocking. Right? So it's interesting. Everything that I set in signals puts you in directional location to highline center to weather interference of position location to its galaxy system. All channel and operation line streams put you in a high interference location on levels of electrical light connections of Tron interference, position of shapes anomalies of track interference to alphabetical stream system. To know exactly what you're doing through travel is always bringing things forward. Okay, so this is how I come into the memory of its cloud to know exactly what it is, position location of its directions. You got 3 channel line centers, 2 vector interference location, a ground line center, coloration of secure line position locations, high interference location of calculations, and high channel line interrotations to 1, 2, 3, 4 line center interference of atom line interference location of its direction. Okay. So it's important to understand everything that I'm doing is all levels of travel. Okay. So that's all you're doing. You're co-creating what you've already created. So it's interesting when you have that capacity of higher channel interference of the brain capacity high system, it puts you in all directional locations to its high interference. Now you can go into 3 line center locations into 5 p.m. high system in calculations of 3 line centers equals 300 line centers to 300,000 line position locations, XT at high interference location Y, P line center perception in position locations of new high channel locations of calculation. You see how that works? So everything that I do is all levels of me. And that's what you guys got to get into. You really have to get out of your separations and realize you are you. You are all formations of you through position locations, all right, to an atom line center, okay, to a correlation panel, to a communication line string, to a ground line center, a purple activation line system to the sun line interference. See? Knowing exactly what it is to you. What does it mean to you? Because remember, you are mastering the communications of you through your eyes, through your ears, through the realms, and through your voice. Okay? That's why it's so unbelievably amazing when you come into the astral travels of you, right? The astral projections of you. Okay? So it's incredible when you're going into a rain graph line center, interference location of ground line interference locations, into position of XT1000 line center, to all line interference, to 72,000 line conditions of rainbow activation system. See? To know exactly what you're doing through travel. There's no hesitation on any level, okay? Because your mind is in a comptitude line interference of its adaptation system to its locations, right? So I showed you so many different levels of what we've been doing in class, right? That's the importance you have to understand, especially when you're in sequence patterns. Inner line position location of directions, right? So we go into this highlight center. There's nothing there, but it's already created, but you can't see it. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not there. It's there. It's there. It's there. It's there. It's always there. So because it's already created, it's already the future line. Okay. So it doesn't look like much, but it is created. It's all created through source. It's all traveling high line center interference. Right? So every time you change a graph line interference, it's changing its program location to its position of point system, to point line center, to point direction, to its calculation. Everything has to have a point location to its position. Okay? So a channel to the timeline center, XT1000 comes in position locations, scans everything that you've just finished doing. Okay? So that's where you stand, you come into that position. Next week, we get into crop circles. So it scans the center line. What's the center line? It's you in position. It's always scanning you through your crown chakra. You guys have to understand these things through its equation. See? It's always scanning you, right? So as you're going through dimensional door line center, this is interesting too, because now we're going through a higher graph interference. Code signal interference of 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 2, 3. If you're going to higher channels, you're reaching higher levels of you through clocking. So you're no longer in 24, you're no longer in 48, you're now in this 72 window of 144. So every time you're going to school, you got 4 days ahead of schedule. And it's already in calculation of all co-creating what you just finished creating. Okay? So it comes into 0, 1 line centers. Now that 1, 0 line center interference, get another XT1000 position location of its directions. Same coloration. As soon as you add colorations of number line center, it comes in position of its directions. But it also scans to make sure you know what you're doing through your binary resets. Now the binary reset line center is the position locations or levels. It activates the solar stream interference. Now that calculates modify high interference into all levels of crop circle locations in its position of its direction. Okay? So it's important you understand what you are doing through travel. Okay? So this is more of an easy task, but this is all based on you through your test review and evaluations. How you use it is all levels of you through calculation. Okay? So it's important you understand anything through a box line. Let's go in position location. Box line, line cross. Okay? In position of directions. Okay? Box line, line cross. Okay? Now that's the next line center into position locations to a flux capacitor. High channel, high center, down in position location of direction. Cross signal and high interference. Program location, circle in position location of its direction. Sequence pattern high interference. 3 line position locations of spectrum lights. Stepping stones, high position location of graph line system. Open up all channel line center to all position location of time sequence. Okay, time sequence of patterns. Opens all communication to its magnetic highway information system. Now, this correlates its highlight center location to the sun and to the moon system, right? The information line center comes from all Jupiter location, and everything through security measure comes from Pluto, and anything through Saturn comes into its flash drive, and anything to Uranus is communication to its split line center interference. So the rotation line system allocate time stream in triangulation, all done through equation, right? So I'm just showing you how powerful it is of what you're doing through your travels. And that's why it's so important to understand you and what you're doing through your calculation. How does your finger point line system? What is this used for? Right? How do I understand this? What is this? What is this? Okay, it's all signals. This is signal. So this is signal. That's doing that every single day. Fluctuation line interference. Now this is position location of console. Okay, console here, console here, console here. Okay, so this is the guidance line center interference in position location of directions. Go like that in high interference. Bring it forward, bring it back, down, up, position locations. But this is your antenna. These are extremely live, right? So in communications, just try to understand what your hands are and what they're used for. Finger point line center, clock line center line interference. You get 150,000 wave interference. You got 350,000 locations alpha channels. You got 22 million position locations of directions to theta line center, 2 position locations of a T reception line. You got the sun graph line center into 1.0 locations in division of its tactic line system to its clocking system, into its moon traction, to its moon line center, bring it communication to its triangulation. That's how it works. So all form line centers to finger point locations of clockings. Now, I just showed you on so many infinity cycles, infinity interference and position locations, triangle line centers, force line communication system, all levels of its high center, all through your finger point locations. You have 5 channel position location of directions, 6 within the activation of its core line center, which all levels of your code system location is your barcode line system. Okay, so it finger points its high line center to its thumb. Thumb to position locations into the point finger. Point finger to position location, the weather pattern. In position locations, center line center to Orion's belt communication system. Over cross line center to next finger point location. Finger point locations into the sun graph line system. Reset division line center, rotate the cycles. See? So recognizing identification of your finger point line channel is extremely important. How you put yourself in the atmosphere, especially when you're going through high interference locations of 5 channels, 10 and 12 positions of 4. Right? Signal in position, signal in position, signal in position. That's 8 line channels. Now, in position of directions, that's identification to its code stream. Identification line stream, high interference location of the directions, high rotation to its calculations. In position of direction, in position of direction, in position location. High center interference and position location, all levels into sonar line system. Taking out the information panel to the digital line center interference and how it sets signals just with the finger point location to its position line conditions. So I'm setting up story frames of panels just with my finger location. Do you see how powerful it is? Do you understand how to use your hands? You don't just do this and have no idea what you're doing. You have to have a prodigal system. You have to have evaluation. You have to have the test of knowledge. You have to have the intelligence of the mind. You have to have the collaboration. You have to have the clocking. That's why it's so powerful through calculation. Everything I do is a story frame of travel through me, right? Everything is communication. Now, if it's a force line triangle and the pinky line center is offline position location, the sun graph line center, I get the hand formation on high line center to the right high interference locations of Mother Earth and fix the position location of its directions. Fixing high center interference locations all through a finger line in rotation, the sun graph line interference location of its directions. Resetting high signals in position of high force line conditions of laser communication to its position location, to its XT1000 line center, to a flux capacitor high interference location to Orion's belt. High interference, split line center in position location of directions, 3 line center interference, 2 position locations in 1 position. All through my fingers. So it's truly understanding how to use your system, guys, all through how everything works. And it's so important how to use this through your test review and evaluations. Okay? It's not just your memories, it's how to use your fingers, how to use the mind, how to use your brain, how to use your eyes and flicker. Sending out signals with your eyes. Look at the sun graph line center, you get a graph interference. You look at the moon, you get program locations of shadow work, high interference of shadow line system in calculations. You tap your ear line center, signal codes. Get the signal position locations. Now that's the right line center locations. In positions, all levels of Mother. Calculation left line center is a space line position. Always yin and yang and high interference location line conditions. In position, direction, interference location, triangles, high center, interference location, flux capacitor, high position location, line system. So this is their true understanding. Try to get into code signal location, your alphabetical line system. Try to modify in calculation to understand motivation, code weaving, cross signals, in position, a 3, 6, and 9 line system. So it's important how to use this, guys. Okay? It's not just your box breathing. It's not just your Merkabahs. It's not just your transformation. It's not just your communication. It's not just your team settings. It's all levels of you inside. How to operate every single line in your body of communication. That's the only way you can master yourself through your fingers, through your eyes, your ears, or anything with that modification system. Because you are a breathing mechanism of travel, of space-time, breathing out of your nose, breathing out of your ears, breathing out of your eyelids, breathing out of your hair, follicle systems, energy. Where's your energy? Here, 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 here. Where does it go? What's the size graph line system? If you're allocating positions of time, you're walking 12-step position locations, you're automatically into a portal defense, right? So now you're going into dimensional line system. So you're starting here. You can't get through, can you? Why can't you get through? Because you're thinking too much. Let the flowing direction of time set position location of its directions of what you want to do through its flowing direction of time through clock and line system. And then you'll be able to go through. You're going through, right? So that's a true understanding. So don't see position location how you see my hands. Look at me and you'll see highlight center locations in double interference. So instead of seeing 4, okay, I said this is 4. This is a review, okay? This is what I want you to truly understand, okay? Don't look at my hand, look at me. And you're going to see 8 fingers in rotation. So it's truly going beyond the recognition of time, guys. It's the phenomenal high interference location of its directions. Truly, truly, truly understanding what you're seeing through calculation. It's all levels of you through provision, okay? How to use the eye resetters. What's an eye resetter? What's a rotor? What's a router? What's a Wi-Fi? What's a program? What's a calculation to high system? So once you understand that, then you understand your code reference locations. Code reference, code channeling, code clocking, Code activation, stream interference, and coloration of position locations of 24,000 line centers of rainbow activation system. It's all in levels of view, of all levels of memory that you've already know, right? That's why it's so powerful. When you go to school, you start to remember more of who you are. Let's get a thumbs up on that. Thumbs up in one line center, thumbs up in two line position locations. You put the two moon line interference location to connect in. That's what G. How many letters are in the alphabet line stream? 26. Calculation of high stream interference position location is all levels of vibration. How you use it, right? Alpha channel, alpha waves, alpha communication system, alpha graph line centers, your 12 position locations, your flight navigations from 1 to 12, your runway interference, your calculations, your modification, your tower line channel interference and position directions. How to use yourself in operation is all levels of you through memory. Okay, that's what school is all about, and that's why it's so fantastic and fascinating on so many levels of astral connection. Truly understand how to use yourself, right? Understand the vibration of you, right? So there's like pattern sequence, there's hologram structure on you, position, location, of directions, right? Right? And your heart line center. See? I do that. See, it's all calculated and modified all through vibration line system. Now I can do it again through equation because it already knows what I'm going to be doing. No problem. See? But if it doesn't understand the position location, so this is the true understanding why you guys have to understand how to balance your sequence patterns of energy line centers in position location of directions. Truly understand all levels of you, right, through hologram structure. Okay. So, all right. So I think everybody's getting a grasp. What you are doing every single day, you get up in the morning, 7 days a week. 7 equals 24. Let's start there. So you get a 7-day graph line center in position of direction. Okay, now triangulation, there it is. There's no more 7 there, is it? So you got 3-point locations, 3, 6, and 9. 3, 6, 9, and 12. Oh no, what have I just turned it into in calculations? Now we come into a high interference to your Merkabah position location of its directions. Tesseract to a tetrahedron to an oscillation location. All through 7. Through a 24 signal. Okay? So it's truth be standing how to put these things all together, guys. You guys are powerful beyond belief. But you got to trust it. That's the only way it's going to work for you. Right? But always try to find a way to go inside you. Okay? Try to understand humility. Trying to understand how to fail. Failing is better than succeeding. Succeeding is being an accessor. Communication line center, success does not come easy. You need humility and you need failure. 3-line track interference. In position or directions. And then you come into being humble. Right? Then you come into translucent interference locations. And then you come into all line center locations of you. You start loving you again, unconditionally. The abundance, the awareness, the describing position, location of you through direction is all levels of you. Okay? So everything that I'm doing, it's upgrading your system. Okay? And that's what this is all about. And it's all levels of you, which you already know. Okay? A lot of people get confused because they don't realize they're separated from the physical and the avatar. Right? So it's true to understand you can't be separated because it's you. It's all formations of you. The only thing you're separating is your line center of your physical, and you're coming into cycle line center locations to your negative system. Because remember, I did a very powerful video on position locations. This is about 2 years ago. My hair was longer, but it's interesting. You see my videos, you see them in time frame. You see me going through timelines. See my hair is different, eyes, and all the locations. Everything I'm giving you is test review and evaluations for you to know. Okay? So that's trying to stand. You have light going forward and you have light going back. Very simple. Right? So it's trying to standing. This is going forward and this is going back. So this is back equals clocking into forward locking. Forward locking goes in center position location of direction. Back clocking goes in reverse cycle location of its position. See the intelligence? So it's all about understanding how to channel these things. Line signal cross locations to out-of-mind interference in position directions. See the I-line system? Now, in position locations, you need the grounds, the powers, and the atmospheres to activate anything through travel before you go in high interference. Now, if you're going to back clocking, be cautious that you're going from high line center locations to negative equals reference. Okay? Not position of force. Because if you're creating that, this is what happens. It goes in the opposite directions and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and it takes over the light signal. So this no longer becomes a reference. This becomes a force line. This becomes your dark matter. This becomes a black hole. Now that sequence interference takes over position location, security line, position location, all lines. So it activates the high interference and the lights disappear into the negative system. It disappears, guys. It disappears, and no more positive line system. It disappears out of light, shades and shadows and communication system. It's gone. Now you're living in a dark cycle. So the positive becomes a negative. Infinite position location of directions, living pattern line center. So it doesn't matter if you're going to force communications all levels in your direction. It's always going to be in the negative cycle because you created dark matter. Okay? So that's not what you want to do, is it? You don't want to create that, because if you create that, this is what it comes into. Okay? It creates its position location of its directions. Okay? So it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Oops. What are you going to do now? Now you're not connected to anything through light. Right? So you want to bring it down in position locations and channel off in position of direction. So in positional high system, you want to bring the light channel back in calculations, right? Because the thing is, the light can go out. And it's very important to understand these things because your body is a conception line center to yin and yang. The yin is position location, the yang is position location, the yang. This is position location of the positive, negative, mother and father communication line systems, positive, negative locations, right? The engine line center locations. It's all position of you through directions. Understanding the lights at 12 and understanding the darks at 12 location, which is a 24 signal. Now you get a location line connection to the levels of stream interference location, yin and yang. It's a process communication to its position, right? So once you correlate the high line center, you lock in vision interference. You bring the light high interference back in calculations, reset generation light centers, it position location in its directions, overlines the high line interference locations, negative system. Now in position location in directions, it communicates to the outline center in position location. Once it communicates to the telepathy, it comes back into the 3, comes back into the 6, comes back into the 9, comes into a diamond line center interference of 12 in position locations into a clocking system of 24 activation line connection. Hooah! Balance of high center, of high position locations, of yin and yang. That's why it's so important to be in that positive system of location. Yes. Yin and yang. Hooah. Now, if that doesn't blow your mind, I don't know what else does. Okay? So that's why it's always important to keep the negative cycles on position locations, knock it out of the park, home run. Right? So staying in the light signals, balance communication lines center interference locations to 6 patterns high interference location of directions. All right? Of yin and yang system. Okay? 6 positions and 90 unit location. Balance communication of you and 12 line centers of light and 12 line centers of dark. That's why it's white and dark line system locations of white and black. Okay? So, was that fun or what? So it's something that you already know, but it's a process of communication. Truly understand how I created the yin and yang. The process of you is all levels of you to understand the male and the female aspects of you through its calculation. It's all levels of you through travel, right? That's all this is, right? So it's a process for you guys to understand these things, okay? So hopefully that helps you out in calculations. Great test, great review, great evaluations. You got this, okay? Questions or comments? Let me know. I'll see you guys later. Adios.